to it is as far as like having my business, by me being a popular socialite, I have a name, people kind of respect me. I'm able to go to these places and actually staff, like they trust in me because they know of me, they know my background, they know, that they personally, know me. And then it just kind of gets you in the door a lot of places when you're kind of a respected, popular socialite. But the other kinds I would say is um, everybody has their moment per se, and I believe my moment was when I actually started throwing strip club parties. Throwing parties at the strip club wasn't really a popular thing, and there were other people that were throwing parties at the strip club. But when I started doing it, it was at the Pantheon in Dearborn, and it was always known as a quote unquote white bar. So when I came over there, it went crazy, like literally to capacity by 11 o'clock. Every rapper, every popular person, whoever was who's who was in the building. And at that time, it's like everybody was my friend. Like everybody wanted to be my friend, everybody wanted to hang out, like everybody wanted to be around. There was several people that came to me and was like, I'm trying to start a business, or I'm trying to start a company, and I'm trying to get my name out there. Can you throw me on a few parties? Can you teach me how to do this? Can you teach me how to do that? And me being me, I was like always okay with it. I was just always like, okay, yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll put you on the party. Yeah, I'll do this. And the cons of that was when all of that faded away, those same people, I don't know where they were at. They would see me act like they didn't even know me. So that bothered me for a while because it was kind of like I helped a lot of people that kind of turned their backs on me, or they would tell people not to book me, and trying to tarnish my name. They were telling people I was saying things about them and talking about them who I never said anything about or who I never talked about. And I guess I could say, like, how they say they love you, they hate you, then they love you, then they hate you again. Is that how you say it? Or they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. So I kind of felt like that, and I kind of still go through that now because it's kind of like I'm such a genuine person, and I may come off a little aggressive as a person, but I got a good heart. Like, I mean well, I don't mean any ill will. So I had friends that I was with every day that were, lying on me to people, telling people I'm talking about them. And it kind of came out, that a few of the people that were in my circle and that was around me that I was helping and showing them how to promote and do what I was doing, they eventually apologized and admitted that they just kind of felt the way about, I was getting a lot of bookings. It was at one point, I think for like a year straight, I was booked like literally 6 days a week. And being the issue was when I was at Pantheon, I wasn't able to throw parties anywhere else. I wasn't able to host anything or do anything anywhere else. So when that stopped, my bookings went through the roof because people are like, oh, she's bringing people out. We know her work. She did this over there for a year and a half. So the other people that were around me, I kind of was putting them on to the things I couldn't do. So when I was able to start back taking bookings, that's when like all hell broke loose, and I just started seeing everybody for their true colors. And even today, it's like, people who I was around and I helped, it's like, did you forget, So that kind of does bother me. So I can say that's some of the cons to it. The one lesson I did learn was my mom used to always tell me I was too nice. She always would say, you're too nice. Everybody isn't your friend. Stop being so nice. Stop being so gullible. Stop letting people take advantage of you. As a young kid, I know my mom said I would give stuff away. I would give toys away. I would give clothes away. So I think that's the lesson that I learned in that is once I became an adult, as I just spoke on, how I helped a lot of people and taught a lot of people how to host and promote and just overall with everything, everybody doesn't have the heart that I have. And it used to really hurt my feelings, and I used to really get upset, and I used to be like, I'm misunderstood, people don't get me, I mean well. I'm nice to them. Why are they being mean to me? So I think the biggest lesson that I've learned from my childhood to now is you can be nice to someone and you can mean well, but you can't expect everyone to treat you how you treat them. And you can't take heed to it. You can't let it bother you. You just have to deal with people accordingly and move along. The biggest hardship, or I guess that I actually went through, was me getting hit by a car. That was like took a toll on me. I'm not sure if you know. It was kind of everybody in the city pretty much knew about that. I was leaving the after hour, and I was walking to my car, and as I was opening my car door, a car came and hit me. My older sister actually witnessed it, and the car hit me, and just so happened the police were actually behind the car that hit me. The car did pull over, but the police had to attend to me, and the car pulled off. That was like something that I wouldn't say was a failure, but it was a hardship for me. Um, I wasn't used to sitting. I wasn't used to needing anyone. I was very independent. But at the time, I was like going through a breakthrough. I was going through family issues. I was going, transitioning from throwing parties to not throwing parties. And I had just started back waitressing and, bartending. So at that time, when I got hit by the car, um, the doctors told my family to prepare for my death. They didn't think I was going to make it. I had blood on my brain. My leg was broken. They had put me in a medically induced coma. So hearing all of this, it was, I didn't know that's what was going on. But when I finally woke up and they told me what happened, I was just like devastated. Like, who would think that something like that would happen to them? So when they were telling me what happened and everything, it just kind of blew me. And it was like the doctors told me I wouldn't walk for a year. Oh, you're not going to be able to walk for a year. I was just like devastated. Me and the person I was with at the time had broken up. I felt like I was alone. I felt like I didn't have anybody. But the only good thing with that was it did draw me really more closer to God. It showed me who in my family really had my back and who was there. Um, you're the interviewer, you, for sure. My cousin Isha, my cousin Rakia, my cousin Delana, Asia, my mom, my sisters, my cousins. Everybody was there. Like, they made my time in the hospital go by pretty swiftly. My cousins and my family would take turns staying the night at the hospital or staying at home with me. So it really helped me, but I did also fall out with family members who, when I was on my deathbed, they like did a lot of grimy stuff towards me, and it just kind of hurt me and broke me. But at the end of the day, what I can say from that hardship is that's what you would call that a hardship, right? Yeah. Um, it taught me a lot. It made me stronger. A lot of people say, quote unquote, I'm soft now. Before they say, oh, you're soft now ever since your accident. But I would say I'm not soft. I just have a different outlook on life. When you almost go through a traumatic situation and you're told that you weren't supposed to make it. The doctors came in my room when it was, time for me to be released from the hospital. 15 doctors stood around my bed and told me how they never seen anyone survive what I had went through and how blessed I was and, how grateful I should be just given. They told me I wouldn't walk for a year. I started walking in 3 months. They were telling me I couldn't do certain things. I was doing it anyway. It was like they had never seen anything like this. So it was a lot to deal with at the time, but afterwards I'm not gonna say I'm happy I went through it, but I'm happy I was able to go through it. And my grandma, rest her soul, she sat in the hospital and she told me one day, she was like, you were kind of moving around a lot, and God probably needed to sit you down for you to actually see and hear him. And that kind of opened my eyes. I'm getting a little serious. That kind of opened my eyes. Um, I didn't mean to cry. Um, it was just a lot to go through. And it just made me really realize how blessed I was. There was so many people who reached out to me. Um, and to this day, strangers walk up to me. I'm sorry, excuse me. Strangers walk up to me that I don't even know and tell me, I went through something similar that you went through, and seeing how hard how you progressed and how you're still so full of life and you don't let that get to you. Like, I have scars on my legs, I don't hide it. It really just made me a stronger person. You know how people say, like, what's your purpose? Everybody's trying to figure out their purpose. I feel like that was one of my purposes. Because when I say so many people write me or reach out to me or they call me and say, I'm going through the same thing you went through. How did you have faith? How did you stay strong? You seem like you never really went through anything. So I feel like that's one of my biggest hardships and blessings. As crazy as it sounds, that was kind of a blessing for me. It changed me and kind of made me strong and have more faith. Did it? Yes. Yeah, being popular, it definitely interferes with all types of relationships, family, your lovers, your friends. But as far as dating and being popular, yes, it's definitely it's definitely a struggle if you're dating someone who doesn't understand your lifestyle. So, past relationships that I've had, um, sometimes the person may be a little insecure, or they might, per se, what we would call clout chase. They're basically dating me, clout chasing, using me to get other girls. I've had several situations where I've dated someone and they're making girls think I don't like them or I'm talking about them to get the girl to talk to them. And then because I'm popular, now it's a big thing but for the most part, when you're dating someone who doesn't understand your lifestyle and you're popular, it's very hard because they don't, I guess per se, let me say, they don't like the attention that you get. So it can make a person feel really uncomfortable dating someone that's popular, which I totally understand, especially with, what I do and being on the scene a lot and, just knowing a lot of people. Um, some people like, being private, and it took me a while to finally realize that I had to keep my relationships private because of me being popular. People always had a story, people were always telling something, or they're trying to talk to me, or per se, whoever I'm dating, their friends might be trying to talk to me, or people I know or around are trying to talk to my dude just because they're like, oh, she thinks she's somebody and he's doing this and that. Like, it's just a lot when you're popular trying to date. And then also with family, when you're popular and you got a big following on Instagram, everybody think you got money. I don't know why. They think because you got a lot of followers, you got some money. So people are always asking for stuff. They're always asking for favors. They see you promoting a concert. Oh, you can't give me no free tickets, or you can't do this. So it's kind of stressful. Friends wise, my friends weren't ever really like the jealous hearted, but they would always tell me like, this person isn't your friend, or this person you shouldn't be talking to, or you shouldn't be hanging with. But when you're popular and you're a socialite, you do have to kind of communicate and support other people that are in the same lane as you. So I would just say that for the most part. But as far as dating, yeah, it's very hard dating someone in Detroit and being popular. That has always been an issue for me, always. Now, there has been a time where um, I did kind of fall back for a few years when I was with someone, just because I knew that was an issue for them. So I stopped throwing parties. I stopped working in the bars. I stopped working in the clubs. So it did kind of work out when, I kind of compromised, So I feel as though if you're with someone who's popular, or if you're dating someone who has an issue with you being popular, sometimes you just got to compromise. Um, if a person doesn't like something and you kind of want it to work, that's just how I feel. So I did compromise a lot. I stopped working at a point in time I was working in a strip club, and the guy I was with was like, well, I don't want you working in a strip club, which I got. So I was like, okay, I won't. He was like, just get a regular job. You don't have to worry about nothing. That's what I went and did for about 5 or 6 years. So yeah, it's a lot with dating and being popular. I believe that what goes around comes around, and you treat people how you want to be treated. So, as I said before, one of my big issues was that I felt as though if I treated someone good, they should treat me good. But now I believe you don't expect anything in return. I believe in God. So I feel as though you treat people how you want to be treated. And what you put out is what you get back, whether it's from a person or how you're blessed or whatever. So that's my kind of been my motto throughout my life. And my mom has always told me that you don't do people dirty, you don't play people, you don't use people, you treat them how you would want to be treated, and if they don't treat you that way, let God deal with them. My younger self, you want to know the truth? I would have never started throwing parties. Never. I would have never started. I would have told my younger self, hey, focus on school. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I was the vice president of student council. I was an honor roll student. But I feel as though throwing parties kind of just put me in a different element, in a different mindset. It made me, the money was coming fast and the money was good. So it made me kind of forget about what was important as far as like school and college and family and so it took away from me being able to spend time with my family. It took I kind of got in a mood where I didn't go to school for like 7 years because I was just making all this money, and I'm like, I don't have to go to school. Woo, woo. I wasn't thinking straight, and to be honest, I had three scholarships, full rides for three different colleges, and I didn't take any of them. So I would have told my younger self, education comes first. And I think a lot of young kids, especially with social media, they kind of get caught up in the hype of things. And back then, social media wasn't really a big thing, but at the time, making money and that was kind of like, oh, wow, I'm making all this money. I didn't think about my future and, oh, you're going to get old, or, you have to have a backup plan. So I would definitely tell my younger self to focus on family education first before anything. My only regret, and I know my mom is going to say she told me so, she watches this, is not actually taking the scholarships that I was offered. I was offered a full ride to Kentucky State. I was offered a full ride to Ohio State. And I don't want to lie, I don't remember the other school, but I was really, really good in drama and choir. Um, a lot of people don't know I used to sing. So I was in several singing groups as a kid up until I was 21 years old. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with Brio Leslie, LaBrittany, Front Page. I was in several groups with them. I was singing since I was a little kid all the way up till I was like 21. So in high school, I participated in choir and drama, and I was really good. And that's why I got those offers for those full rides to those colleges, and I didn't take them. So I kind of regret that. And I didn't take them because I was like, telling my mom, I'm like, well, I don't want to do that as a profession, not knowing that I could have just went to school and got the degree and the education and utilized it a different type of way. So that is one of my regrets. As a little kid, I always loved music. Growing up, my mom, my aunts, my dad, everybody would play music all the time. My uncle, rest in peace, my uncle Carl, he was a part of the Enchantments, and he knew I used to love to sing, so he would every time he saw me, he would have me sing songs, and I just always took like I just always was interested in music. I was little, like in the second grade, writing songs and um, watching videos and making up routines with my friends. So by the time I probably got in like middle school, actually no, I was in the ninth grade. Janet Jackson had actually held a audition here. She was starting a girl group, and I begged my mom to take me to the audition. I went to the audition. They picked me, and now I realized um, the people that were behind it was like some big people. So it didn't really go well as far as linking up with Janet Jackson, but I ended up meeting other producers and A&Rs, I'm sorry, from different labels, and they formed a group called 313. So I was a part of 313. It was me, Brio Leslie, Ava, and Jamesia. And at one point in time, Front Page and a girl named Keely was a part too. However, Paige ended up doing the choreography, I'm sorry, for us. And I probably was in that group for about 4 or 5 years. It was like extreme. Like that was another part of me growing up. That was like my life. Like all through high school, ninth to 12th grade, that's what I did every day. I was at rehearsal. It was even at a point in time where our manager bought us a house and we all lived in a house together. We had several deals on the floor, but certain things just, didn't go right. So kind of after that, I ended up being in a group with La Brittany and another girl named Jessica, and we were signed to J Moss, which is a big gospel artist. And then things kind of turned left because at this time I was in school and they wanted me to focus more on singing. So it kind of just didn't go right. After that, I moved to Atlanta and I pursued modeling and acting there. And that's when I kind of started getting into acting and modeling. I did videos for Soulja Boy, Shorty Low, Future, Jeezy. I never had a big role, but I was an extra for Teen Wolf, The Game. And then, believe it or not, I got cool with the directors of Teen Wolf, and I actually was begging the director, like, let me audition for a part, let me audition for a part. My mom ended up coming and making me move back because of some other things that were going on. And the day we were moving me back, we were in Ohio, the director called and asked me, could I audition for a role, but I was already gone. So that kind of was a part of, my childhood as well. Until probably I was about 21. I was really focused on acting, throwing parties, and singing. And then after that, I kind of, went back to school. I want to be remembered as just a genuine person. Um, I just want people to really know that my intentions are always pure, that I'm a very genuine person. I love hard. I try to help everybody out. I just want to be remembered as a God fearing, genuine, loyal a person.